All right, another pre-show time. Right off the jump, I'm going to go ahead and say that if last week's episode sounded weird, that's because I just discovered that I recorded last week's episode entirely through my MacBook speakers. So,
and then you fixed it on your end, and then my audio started messing up. So I hope I sound fine. Who knows? We'll figure this out, I guess, in the edit.
Yep, pretty good start.
Yeah, professional
for this week. How about, so I feel like the last few times I've kind of taken the jump at the beginning. So what have you got for updates?
Well, I was going to say this is weird because I think this is the first time in like 6 months that we've done a show the week after the previous recording.
Yeah, like 2 weeks, 2 consecutive weeks. Yeah.
So we haven't done anything, clearly.
Also, a real quick sidebar question.
Go ahead.
Is my everything sounds good from me to you? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, like
why didn't
because the little bar that indicates my like output or whatever, like the little green bar thing, it's like barely there, so I didn't know if my
you sound fine. But I also didn't notice that you sounded bad until I got to the edit. So
well, yeah, I think on here I was through the microphone, but just on Audacity I was recording through the laptop.
As long as our listeners are hearing the better audio. No, but you sound the same. You sound the same as you did last time. So
okay, good.
And you can hear me. But yeah, so we haven't done anything. But I said that, and then I remembered that I did do something last week. So again, we don't know when this is out because of release order, and also we're still banking our shows. But I think this recording should be pretty close to whenever we.
Yeah, I think this is number 10, isn't it?
This should
or
be.
Is it 9? It's
no,
9
this
or
is
10.
This will be our 10th.
Yeah, so
as you're hearing this, we started to release episodes 10 weeks ago.
Yes.
So that.
Oh, and also at some point there's going to be a mix-up because there's going to be a Christmas.
Right. Yeah, so they're going to be out of order. So this is
maybe
probably
11 weeks.
God, this is probably the end of December or close to the 1st of January.
Happy 2026, everybody. Assuming we've made it there.
So we're still in October. And last week's recording was done on a Friday. And then on Saturday, I had an awesome day. I forgot that I had an awesome day because it's been a shitty week.
Yeah.
Well, not shitty. I shouldn't say that. It's just been a work week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff at work. I wanted to throat punch someone today. But that's beside the point. So last Saturday, here's what I did. I'll fill you in. I'll start us off.
Please do.
And this is not about like awesome music genres. This isn't about European soccer. This isn't about anything cool.
Football.
Sorry, footy. But like I said, it's still October for us, and once a year, a friend and I, who I know through the industry, the haunted house industry, we always try to go to some like larger haunted house that's like not necessarily like hyper local. Like one year we traveled 6 hours one way to go to a haunted house, drove. And and we made the mistake of waking up super early because we had other things to do. And that turned into literally a 24-hour day. And it was very dangerous driving back. But it was so worth it because the haunted house that we went to was just fantastic. But, so this time we only had to drive, well, he had to drive an hour extra because he's an hour further south than me. But we drove like 2 hours north. And, our initial plan was to go to this one haunted house specifically because it's potentially its last season after like 47 years, I think, or something along those lines. And I had yet to go, so I was like, I need to get there before they close down. And like best case scenario is that they're probably going to, or not probably, is that they might change ownership, which isn't always like the end of the world, but it's also not guaranteed that they'll stay the same. So I wanted to like go, while it was under the same, like the original owners, right? And then after that, we were going to maybe try to go to another haunted house just because we were in the area, may as well get another one in. But it really depended on like, how early we could get to the first one and how long we had to wait to get inside. And then weather was also a concern because it was supposed to rain, and it did rain quite a bit. So we just didn't know, how many we would be able to get in after the first initial one. But we wanted to try to do at least 2, right? So we get there. We get to the town. I'm not being cagey. It's Indianapolis. We get to the capital of the great state of Indiana, and
Yeah.
we got there like way early, like several hours early, and that was mostly because we were going to go to the No Kings protest.
Yeah.
On the 18th, I do believe it was, right? And but that whole thing fell through just because my friend was driving and he was late. But it's not like he had to go to the post office, and long story short, it caused him to be late. Anyway, So we get there, and we could have probably have made like the last hour or so, 45 minutes of like the march, but that would not have included like parking or like driving across town. So, and also we knew like rain was coming, and it was supposed to like rain. Once it started, it was supposed to kind of be all day. So we just didn't. There's a lot of factors of unknown. So we got up there. We decided to have lunch a little late, and then we went to Spirit Halloween, whatever. And then we still had like 2 hours to kill before this first haunted house was going to open, and we wanted to get there like right at opening, basically. And we could have probably gone to a couple of our other choices of time killers. We wanted to possibly go to one of the larger cemeteries there in the town, in the city. Sorry, just because it's actually kind of a cool place to go to. There's a lot of like awesome architecture in that cemetery.
Yeah,
and it's
I like
massive.
cemeteries.
Yeah, and cemeteries are just cool. But Crown Hill there in Indianapolis is pretty awesome. Plus, like a president's buried there. One of the Harrisons, William Henry Harrison, maybe Benjamin Harrison, something like that.
I'll pop in and say hi.
I don't know. I don't know history. Plus, John Dillinger's buried there.
Or at least you just don't know like where presidents are buried.
No, I know where presidents are buried. They're buried in cemeteries. Ha. But I don't know which Harrison it was. It was one of the ones from Indiana. Anyway. Or we could have gone to the Medical History Museum, which was on the grounds of the old state hospital, which that was back whenever like every state had a very similar state hospital for those with mental health issues, or things we would stereotypically attribute to insane asylums today, right? They were called state hospitals back then, and there was a lot of different types of state hospital as far as like architectural design, but the most common one, this is a weird tangent I'm going on, the most common one that like if you were to picture insane asylum, air quotes, in the US, there's a good chance that you're picturing this architectural type. And it was called the Kirkbride design, after some guy named, last name Kirkbride. But anyway, it's a very like iconic shaped facility where like there's a main a main building hall, and then there's like stair-stepped wings off to the side that are like dormitories or different levels of the insane asylum or whatever. And that's the Kirkbride design. So that used to be in Indianapolis. There's a very large one. And the building's mostly demolished now. But one of the facilities that still remains is like a surgical or like some kind of medical building that was on the campus where they performed surgeries, medical procedures. And so they've since turned this building into the Medical History Museum. And there's a lot of artifacts dating back to early 1900s, like medical procedure stuff, as far as tool. I almost said weapons, but I mean tools, tools and artifacts. I guess photos, documentation, that kind of stuff. But one of the rooms is actually like one of those iconic surgical theater rooms where they have like the thing in the middle, like the pit or whatever, and then all the steep chairs go up to the sides where people used to actually watch surgeries be performed, right? That's crazy to think of. But anyway, they closed.
Yeah, known Zionist Jerry Seinfeld had a great bit about those where he's like,
"Oh, really?
You never want to be, you never want to be going into one of the operations where all the other doctors go, oh, I got to see this."
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But unfortunately, I've never been there. I've wanted to go there for a while. And it's fairly affordable. It's like $8, I think. I think I could be way wrong on that now, but anyway, it seemed like it was cheap when we were looking it up, but it was going to close within the hour from where we were, and we were still maybe like a 20-minute drive away. And not knowing how long it was going to take, we decided, let's not waste our money to like rush through the place, right? Excuse me. So that left us with like 90-ish, let's say 90 to 100 minutes of time to kill and not knowing where to go. And we were within 10 minutes of the haunted house. Mm-hmm. So we really didn't want to go too far away. So we found another place called the Hannah House, I think it's called. The Haunted Hannah House or something like that. Again, some guy, last name Hannah, had this house. End of story.
All right. That was a good step.
But apparently it's haunted. Like legitimately there's ghosts in there, right? And it's a museum. And it's like a historic house. It's on the historic like database or whatever, right? And I think the story is something like it was an actual known, or like there's evidence and proof that it was a stop on the Underground Railroad, that this Hannah guy was a wealthy person in Indianapolis. He owned some property. There's like streets named after him in the city. And he was housing or hiding or helped to hide some slaves that were escaping. And I think the story is that he had to take a business trip, or he was out of town for some reason. And during this time away, a fire broke out in the house. And essentially, I think the story boils down to the escaped slaves who were trying to get north to freedom. They were basically given like the worst options. They could either stay in the house and hopefully not burn alive, or they could escape the house and get caught and sent back to the slave trade, right? So unfortunately, I don't know if they even got to make the decision, but I think they died of like smoke inhalation or some kind of asphyxiation. I don't know if they actually burned. I could be wrong. Maybe they did have an even more horrible death than what they did. But apparently they all passed away in the basement of this house. And then I think on top of that, this Hannah guy, I wish I should have done some research, but it's pre-show. Who cares? I think he might have lost some family. I don't know if it was related to the same fire or not, but like children, I think. So a lot of tragedy in this house. That's where it gets its like paranormal connection, right? But we also knew that they do a commercial haunted house, haunted attraction. But we also knew that it was like 3:30 in the afternoon, that it wasn't going to be open. So we were kind of hopeful that maybe the museum part would be open and we could just like, tour the house. Because we knew nothing about the actual commercial haunted house part of it. Like, where was it at? Was it in the house? Was it not? Who knows? And, or like worst case scenario is that we just get to go see the house and like maybe like walk around like the outside and just see an old house, an old creepy house or whatever. So we decided to go. It was only like a 5-minute drive from where we were. Decided to go. Went. As we were pulling up, we realized that there's like a line forming outside of like parents and little kids dressed up in Halloween costumes. And we find the parking area, and there's signs all over that are like, today, Kids Day or whatever. And it was basically from 3 o'clock, basically the time that we got there, like it was whenever they were opening. And for a couple hours, for $5, you got to walk through the house and the commercial haunted house, and with your kids and get candy, and they wouldn't scare you, and all the lights would be on, So we sat in the parking lot or the parking field or whatever for a bit, and we were like, do we want to go in this place for $5 and see it with lights on and in like the worst conditions for a haunted attraction, or do we want to come back after the haunt we came for, after that's over, come back here and pay $25 and go through the haunted attraction with full show lights and actors and all that kind of stuff? And we sat there, and we almost left. But we were like, well, we're already here. We may as well just go through. And if it looks cool, we can always come back and pay the $25. But at least we're only out $5, worst case scenario. So we decided on that, went through, it was definitely only worth the $5. No offense to to the fine people at the Hannah Haunted Mansion or whatever it's called. Beautiful building. We got to We got to traverse, I suppose, the floors inside the actual house. That was kind of cool to see it all.
Yeah, I'd like to do that
in daylight. And what was really cool too is the they did have actors on site, but they had like mask or makeup off, so they were in costume, but nothing spooky about them. But the ones that were in the house were all dressed like period clothing, so that was kind of cool to see, like, you know, this historic like 18 whatever mansion with, like, you know, these characters from the 1800s as well. That was kind of cool. Beautiful place, really historic looking. And then we went through some part of that house, and then there's a trail leading out of the house into like their garage, and then into like a barn in the backyard, and then back. So that part was the commercial haunted house. Man, it was worth $5. But I'm sure people find it fun. It wasn't for us. We weren't the audience. I don't blame them. So then
it reminds me a little bit of there's the Witch House in Salem, Massachusetts, that me and my partner got to visit a couple of years ago, where it's like an old 1600s house that the judge from Salem who sentenced the women to death lived.
Oh wow!
And they also had a whole bunch of like period accurate setups, and as I recall, the people that were inside were also, I want to say that there were people in clothing, but they also had like some pieces of original furniture and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So very similar. Like the whole house was still furnished and decorated or whatever with what seemed like very period pieces and everything.
Yeah.
But the one I went to was not as historically significant as the one that you went to, as far as U.S. history goes. Yeah, and it was also like, this was also in like basically the middle of the south side of Indy. So like across the street was a gas station, you know, and then across the other street was like a tire repair place. So, you know, it wasn't Salem, Massachusetts vibes as far as that goes, but it was still fun. It was fun. It was a $5 well spent, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the money they from both that event and the actual haunted house was used to like help like with the upkeep of the building. So, and then they also do, just to not shit on the place completely, I do actually want to go back and take the actual like historic tour. And then they also like the third, because there was a guide that was talking about this stuff. She mentioned like the third Sunday of every month they do ghost tours as well. And then they also have occasionally like overnight stays available. So all those sound very interesting, right?
Yeah.
The haunted attraction part of it was okay. But again, I'm not the audience. So after that, we decided to go to the haunted house that we've been wanting to go to, the one that's closing, and it's called Nightmare on Edgewood. And we got there really excited. Started to rain. They let us in the building like 15 minutes before they opened, just at a nicety to us, because we were outside standing in the rain. And it was my friend and I and like these 3 random teenagers that showed up at exactly the same time that we did. And they kept asking us questions like, where do we go do this? You know, where's this? How do we do this? And we were like, this is our first time here too. We have no idea. So I was kind of worried that we were going to be stuck with them the whole night, you know. So they let us in.
You have to go through the haunt with them, and like something jumps out. They're like, "What's that?
What was that?" Yeah.
What?
So yeah, that was my. I mean, and I've been through with some annoying groups, so I wasn't totally bummed if that was the case. I was just expecting that to be the case, right?
Yeah.
But thankfully, we my friend and I, sort of through the industry and through social media, knew the owner of this place. And my friend just like randomly messaged him and said, "Hey, we're coming to your place tonight, you know, looking forward to it." And the owner got back with him right away, actually, and was like, "Hey, you know, tell my staff that you're here and ask for me, and I'll come meet you guys and shake your hand, you know, whatever." Just, it's kind of like what you do whenever there's other haunt people in your haunt, right? You just want to pay respect and not be an asshole to them. Normal stuff, nothing out of the ordinary. So we get inside. It was awesome. I mean, from like first step in, just an incredible place. It was definitely worth the $45 that we paid or whatever to get in, and that was the base ticket. Because the plan was to get there early to not have to wait in line, or at least not long. So we opted out of the fast pass. But the entry hall where like the line is, just like everything from start to finish was just like amazing, right? So we get to like the actual entrance from like so like I said, we were led into the entrance hall. We stood there for like 15 minutes because we were let in early, and then we were finally like led into the actual like line or whatever once they officially opened. And we still hadn't met the owner yet, even though we had said, hey, we're so and so here to see this guy. But he was like right before open, so he was running around, and we weren't really too worried about the pleasantries of shaking the guy's hand or whatever.
But I'm like not right entering this haunt until he shakes my hand.
Yeah, I'm not. Fuck this guy.
He owes us that at least.
Yeah. We drove 2+ hours, paid the fee that everyone else pays. I at least wanted to shake the guy's hand. Yeah. No, but he did right before they let us in. Which so again, we're in like the normal ticket entry. There's a fast pass line that during that 15 minutes that I mentioned, it's also been filling up with people. And I was kind of glad to see that, because I don't like being the first group in. I know some people, especially for like other forms of entertainment, like theme parks or whatever, there's like this need to be like the first or whatever. And I think that applies to some people with haunted houses as well. Like they want to be like the first group in or whatever for that night. I don't. I want to give like the actors some time to get in the groove of things. I don't want, not to say that they can't off the bat hit the marks or whatever, but give them a few groups to kind of get warmed up, right? So I saw the fast pass line filling. I was like, great. We're going to at least be, maybe you have to wait 10 minutes at most, and then we'll get in, right? So we're up there about to go in. No one's gone in yet. They're literally about to like open the actual gate or whatever. And the owner walks by, and he sees my friend and I. And again, we've only like chatted online, so we've never met in person. But I guess social media, he recognized my friend, and he like came right over, and he's hey, thanks for coming, whatever. Hey, pleasantries were exchanged, handshakes, whatever. And then he turns to like the two people manning the line to like let the groups in, and must have said something, because then one of the guys that he was talking to comes over and asks to scan our ticket, which is normal, of course. So we had like the phone version of our ticket and pulled it out, and he scanned it. He's like, okay, go ahead. And we were the first two people in, and he didn't let anyone else in our group at all. So it was kind of like a private experience, because we didn't have to deal with the teens that we came with. Now, again, we were the first group, so I was a little nervous about, like, are they going to be ready or whatever. But it was so awesome.
Back to the line, and we see those teens again, and they're like, "Why did they get in?"
Well,
who is that? What?
Even more so, the guys that paid $70 for the fast pass are like, "Who the fuck are these two?" Like they're going in by themselves, yeah. And they just talked to the owner too, yeah. So that was pretty awesome. He did not have to do that at all, and that definitely didn't like sweeten the experience. I mean, it was a bonus, but I think it would have been just as awesome if we would have gone in with any amount of people in our group. So that was cool. And the actors, my doubts were like shattered or blown away or whatever immediately. The actors were on it. They were so great. It was a touch haunt, which I've never been to, which is weird because I've been to a lot of haunted houses, but it's sort of a new thing. So
in the biz, they call them feelers.
Feelers. I got one of those feelies. That's what you went to. Yeah. So that's where like, and there's different variations of this, which it's weird because they're all kind of called the same, right? So like I've heard of touch haunts being like where they, might poke and prod you or like brush against you or tickle the back of your neck or back of your leg or whatever. And then I've also seen touch haunts that like, the full body contact, like, and
yeah, I think one of the most popular, references would be like that McCamey Manor.
I knew you was gonna fucking mention that. I fucking hate that place.
That's the many documentaries about like what a horrible person the guy who ran it. I don't think it exists anymore. At this
it does.
point.
Yeah, it's in Memphis.
It does still.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people in the haunted house industry, the professional haunted house industry, that just cannot stand that place.
Yeah,
and not it doesn't have anything to do with Russ McCamey, the owner. That's a whole side thing of him being a creep. But it fundamentally, it's not a haunted house. Is it a horror experience? Sure, but it's torture porn. Like that's what it is, right? So whenever you say touch haunt, that does come to mind, for sure. And that would be like you're right, like the most extreme. But there's no like in between. So you just hear touch haunt, and unless you've seen video or like evidence, like there's really nothing to tell you like what level of, are you going to get like tickled with a feather, or are you going to get like waterboarded? Like it's somewhere between there, right? Except for Nightmare on Edgewood, the one that we're at. I have seen some video, so I know what they do here. Mm-hmm. And I know that there is like full body contact. I know that like, there's one scene where patrons literally get picked up and like body slammed onto like a big butcher block table, and then have like a meat cleaver like smacked around their head, right? So I know that like that's a possibility, and it's only me and this one other guy in our group. It's me and my friend, so one of us is going to get the stuff done to them, right?
We got easy pickings, boy.
Basically, yeah. And I'm a big person, right? I'm over 6 foot tall, and I'm like about 300 pounds. And my friend is...
Yeah, there's even been a person who picked fights with us at movie theaters who called you a big dude.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. They were just stating facts. And my friend is about 6 foot. I say right at 6 foot, a little shorter than me, not too much. But he's thinner, easily 100 pounds thinner. And he's also older too. He's like 15, 20 years older than me. Mm-hmm. So it's this weird, like, do I pick on the old thin guy, or do I pick on the younger, bigger guy? Right. So I'm kind of curious as to how they're going to go. And in my experience with other haunted houses, which again, this is my first touch, but even in other non-touch haunted houses, traditional haunts, the group I'm with, I'm usually always one of the bigger people, both height and weight wise. And usually how it goes is they will see the actors. They will see me, acknowledge my presence, and then go after the smaller, easier targets. So I am understanding of that process, right? And I still have fun. I like to watch other people, be put into that intense moment, even though it's not touch in those other cases. So I was kind of halfway expecting that here. And the whole haunt was awesome. Like I said, the sets were great. Acting was awesome. The design was just phenomenal. And then we get to the one room that I've seen on the video. And how you come into it is you kind of circle around the table that I mentioned, the big butcher block table. But there's like a shelf, like you're like peering through the shelf as you're coming around this table. So I see it, and I go, "Oh, this is that room." And now I'm thinking, which one of us is going to be the thing, right? And I'm kind of figuring it's going to be Sean, my friend, just because, flip of a coin maybe, or just because I'm like, there's no way they're going to pick up my fat ass. There's just no way. But so far up until this point, and this is over halfway through the haunt, it's been about 50-50 as far as who they went after. It wasn't like they were always going after him or always going after me. We were both kind of equally manipulated, pushed upon. We had our hands chained up above our head at one time. I had my hand dipped into a vat of air quotes acid, and then they forced me to rub my hand on my friend's face. So there was both was going on, and several other things as well. But this one, like I said, I saw the table, and I'm just thinking. Part of me is thinking like, I can't wait to see him get body slammed on this table. And then the other part of me is like, I can't wait to see them try to body slam me on this table. Because if they go after me, I'm guessing it's going to be like okay, take two. You come over here, right? So we enter the space, the actual scene around the table, and it's like a U-shaped path around this, long, the size of like a twin bed is the size of this big table, right? And the actor, there's actually two actors in this room, and one of them is actually like the official photographer of the place. Like the character has a camera around their person, not a part of the character, just on them, and they take your picture, and then kind of like a roller coaster, like your picture ends up at the gift shop, sort of thing. But they wanted someone like professional taking photos rather than just like a stationary lockdown camera, because of the chaos of the situation. You don't really know where to point that camera until you're in it, right? So the character without the camera approaches both of us, and the whole scene is that this is like an inbred hillbilly family, and we're in their pig farm, and we are here for the slaughter, right? And he's sizing both of us up, and he comes over to me, and this guy is, and this isn't trying to be like diminutive or anything, he's a shorter fella, right? He's shorter than me, clearly, but he's also maybe like 5'9", like not a big tall guy, right? But he's like sizing me up, and he grabs me by the jaw, and he starts to like tilt my head around like he's looking at my jawline and my shape of my head, for freshness of meat or whatever the character is. And I'm thinking, because it's me closest to the table, mistake number one, and then my friend next to me, further away from the table. I'm thinking that he's sizing me up, and then he's going to go over to my friend and attack him and get him on the table. Basically, make my friend think that he's going after me and then go after my, right? No, that's not what happened. This dude, in like 1.5 moves, we'll say, maybe 2 moves, bends down, wraps his arms around like my hips, and just leg thrust hit, like stands up and lays me out on this butcher block table like I am a sack of potatoes, like so easily. Just whoop, boom, and I'm like, whoa, and I'm laughing my head off because of how like shockingly fast that took place, right? Just like, holy shit, this guy, just like, I am incapacitated as far as I'm immobilized. I'm totally in his control right now. So I'm just laughing because I was like, that was ridiculous. That was awesome. Plus, I like popped my back in like 8 different places whenever I hit that table. But it felt...
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it felt amazing. I was like, oh gosh, that felt awesome. And then he started to like grab my head and like move it around or whatever, saying, some kind of character stuff or whatever. But he was like moving my head in a way that like felt like I was in a spa. Like it was just like, like rubbing my scalp and like moving my head around. I was like, this is awesome. This feels so good. And the whole time I'm just laughing. So I'm ruining his entire, motivation for the whole scene, basically. I'm not buying into it at all because I'm having such a good time. And my friend is like standing off to the side and just laughing his head off too. So the character pulls my friend in closer and says something like, where should we cut first or whatever? And my friend's just laughing. It's like, I don't know. So the character takes that butcher cleaver knife or whatever and just starts whacking like right next to my head. And of course, he's trained in whatever. But if I was to just be a jackass and like move my head in the way, he would have made full contact. And then finally they give up and tell us that, we're all rotten or whatever. And that's kind of the end of the scene there. But yeah, I mean, total just shock and stun, surprise as far as being able to be moved by another human being that quickly.
Did you, before moving on, did you turn to that guy and like shake his hand and say, sir, you were amazing? That was great.
Well, that's the thing is whenever we go through haunts, we kind of do that already. We don't do the handshake thing. But definitely if it's like a good scare that kind of gets us, which scaring us is hard just because we're used to this shit. And that's not to say that like we're hard, we're hard to scare and whatever. No, it's just you just kind of get used to it, right? So if someone ever gets us in that way, or if like their timing's good, or if they're even if just like their character is entertaining, regardless of like scare value, usually as we're leaving their room, we always say, "Good job, that was awesome. Good job, that was whatever." So yeah, we did in fact turn and say, "That was awesome, thank you." you know,
what was his response, if anything?
If he did, I don't.
Do they ever acknowledge that? Like,
no, at least not to my memory, because we're usually moving on. You know, like
and there's other people.
Well, not necessarily always other people, but they're also resetting. So they're not like lingering where we're at. So it's kind of like an across the room, "Hey buddy," like that was cool or whatever. Right. So if they do acknowledge in some way or respond, I don't remember it or hear it, or I'm even like turned away by the time that they, say anything. But we definitely wanted to like let them know that we enjoyed what they did. Right. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's like break character. "Thank you, it meant a lot,"
Oh, thanks, man.
Thanks, yeah. So that was an awesome experience. The end of the haunted house, I guess spoiler alert. No, because this is December, so screw it. Was something that I wasn't expecting at all. I've only seen one other haunted house do this, and it's out in California. That doesn't mean that this is the only haunted house that does it, but I've only ever seen one other haunted house do this, and I've not ever been there in person. But we get to the end, we don't realize it's the end, because this haunted house is just like, it's non-stop. There's always something happening, and a lot of times in haunts that are not this impressive, and I don't mean that in like a negative sense. I just mean I only mean that for how awesome Nightmare on Edgewood was. But usually you can sense like a climax coming, right? There's always some kind of like build up to an end, which isn't to say that it's formulaic. It's just we didn't have enough time to sense that here, because everything was just always going, and we didn't know how long we had been in there because we've been so entertained. It's like whenever you watch a good movie and you go, "Holy shit, it's been 2 hours" or whatever, right? So we get to this room not knowing that it's the end, and there are two characters. One character outside of the room is like a gravedigger character, and he tells us as we come in, you're going to go in, or you're going to go up the ramp and stand against the left side of the room and go all the way to the back and stop. Like, he says this, and it's more like an instruction rather than like a character thing. He looks the part. It's more like, this is important, you got to follow this. And then as we're going up the ramp, he says, you're going to want to take off your glasses and your hat. My friend had a baseball hat on, because loose items will fall off. And immediately my head goes, what the fuck are we about to do? Because I've been body slammed already. No warning, just happened. We've also been in a trash compactor where like the floor fell out like a good 6 inches, and it really felt like the floor, it couldn't even been 2 inches, but it was a good enough drop that it really startled us a lot. We've been in the back of a livestock trailer that felt like it was moving like down the road or whatever. We were even in like we think it was supposed to be like an earthquake room or something, but the whole room shook very violently to the sense that like we started to like stumble around. So whenever they tell you that like loose articles are going to fall off, remove your glasses and hat and hold on to them. What could they possibly be about to do that's going to require this? So of course I just instinctively, I don't want to lose my glasses, so I take them off, And then the guy repeats it again. Remove all loose articles. So I guess my friend had not removed his hat yet or whatever. So we get into this room, and by room, that might be an exaggeration. It's a space. It's about 3 feet wide, like the width of a doorway, and approximately 8 feet long. Completely black, and there's a door at the far end, and then there's the door that we just came in. And the door at the far end is closed. And standing in front of that door is another actor. And the door that we just came in is closed behind us. So it's just the two of us and then the actor as a third person. And the actor, in this pitch black room, we can't see anything. He says, stand against the wall behind you. So we stand against the wall behind us. And he then repeats again, remove anything loose. And sure enough, we're like, okay, we're ready. What is going to happen? And then he turns on, he has like a blacklight flashlight. And he says, it's time to get buried. And then he turns the flashlight off. So the purple light goes away. And then out of nowhere, this whole room starts to fill up with play place, like black play place ball pit balls. Just like a deluge of these things. The whole room fills up. I'm over 6 feet tall, and this thing went well above my head. So maybe 7 to 8 feet of just ball. And I didn't realize the compressive properties of ball pit, because I've never been in a ball pit deeper than like my shins or whatever, right? So you're locked in. And the whole time these things are raining in front of our faces, filling up this cavity, my friend and I are both laughing, but I'm laughing really hard because I'm just having the time of my life. It's amazing. It's awesome. And they leave you like locked in for a good like 10 or 15 seconds, which is actually a really long time. And then you felt like the pressure of the balls around you like release, and you could tell that like somewhere through the floor or somewhere down low they were like being drained or whatever, right? And then the actor turns his flashlight back on after like the balls had like gone past our heads and they're still draining out. And he says, move your feet around if you want to get out of here faster. Basically having us like shuffle to get the balls to get out and drain, right? And I just like jokingly say, what if I don't want to get out of here? And he's like, do you want to do it again? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it again. He's like, okay. So because we were the first group and there was like hardly anyone behind us and we're only 2 people, like it took no time to get the balls drained out. And then he like said, here we go again. And then he flipped the switch or whatever. And I happened to like look up at the ceiling this time around, and the whole ceiling like slid back like a sunroof, basically. And just a rain of these black, now it's pitch black, but there's enough like ambient light outside, like barely any, but enough to like see the balls. And there's so many, just, and this room fills up in like 20 seconds. I mean, it really, really, really fast that you just get, surrounded. So that was awesome. He did it twice. And then of course they opened up that back door after the balls drained away the second time. And that was like the end. It was like a ramp to like the gift shop. And my friend and I were like, holy shit, that was like the best. It was like 45 minutes to get through it. Like the best experience possible. So we're in the gift shop and we planned on getting shirts anyway. And the owner actually met us there. So he must have been like sort of following us through or something. Ask us, how was it? Did you guys like it? That kind of thing. Shook hands. And then like right as we did like the last little handshake or whatever, he turned to the merch people and was like, give them the employee discount. So that was on top of everything else that he didn't have to do. We got like, I think I saved like, it was like 25% off of the order. Yeah. So I mean, just like, holy shit, that was awesome. Yeah.
You think you would have gotten the discount if you were like, it was all right.
Yeah, you could have done better. I've been to better.
3 stars.
Yeah. Right. So that was awesome. Like I said, great haunted house. If anyone's like, if they're around in some capacity in the future, I definitely recommend that one. But yeah, so then we decided to go on to our next one. Went to the next haunt, which was like 20 minutes away, still there in Indy. But weirdly enough, it had not opened yet because it's only like 7 o'clock at this point in time, and it was supposed to open at like 7:45 or whatever. So we get to the second haunt before it opens, or like right at opening, basically. So this is like 3 places. If you count the first place, like the kiddie walk through, 3 haunts in a row where we've gotten there like right when they open. So we went to that one. We did end up buying Fast Pass just because the line to get in was already quite lengthy, and we didn't want to wait there too long because there was like a lot of rain coming, and this was like in between rain basically. So we wanted to get in and out.
Out of curiosity, was this first one that you went to that you just talked about, not counting the kitty one, but the first one that you went to, the feeler, as it were?
Yeah.
Was that like the main one that you wanted to go to, or was it like no order particularly?
No, that was the one. Like it was. We wanted to go to Nightmare on Edgewood, the feeler one, first, and get there as soon as it opened, to that way not have to wait in line, because that was the one that we wanted to go to. It being their last season, we knew that attendance would be like through the roof as far as people wanting to go to this place. So we didn't want to wait in line longer than we had to, and we didn't really want to pay for multiple fast passes if we didn't also have to. So yeah, so we got the one that we came for out of the way, and it also like hit a home run. Like it couldn't have been any better. So unfortunately, that meant that the second one that we went to after that one had a very hard bar to climb over as far as that goes. So
Right.
we bought the fast pass, which was like close to like $60, I think. And the experience was great. The sets were really super detailed. Incredible storyline. The storyline was based off of time travel, which is very unique for the haunted house industry. Basically, it's like time travel gone wrong, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And you get kind of like sent to this darker time in history, and then you also get like time warped between other points in history and the future. So very cool concept. It was, like I said, very well done. It also took like 40 minutes to get through, so lengthy as far as that goes. But it just, we were on such a high that nothing else could really, surpass that. So it kind of felt bad even going to it and being like, that was okay, because truly it was an awesome experience on its own right. But we were just like, treated like royalty at the other place, right? So that was fine. We actually got paired up with this older couple that had a I think their daughter, they said, worked there, and that's why they were there that night. And very friendly, but the wife was like super like either into her wine that night or whatever, but she was really talkative like the whole time. So that was fun at first, and then it got pretty annoying after a while. But they actually had one cool design element that I'll briefly go over, in that, usually whenever we design these spaces, you want to use as much of the like square footage of the building as you possibly can, right? And by doing so, that usually means making as many twists and turns, like, corners or lefts or rights, right? Just to eat up as much of the pathway, so it makes it feel like you've gone further. But also, in the design, that just throws you off, right? If you're not traveling in straight lines for very long, you don't really know where you're at in comparison to where you just were. So it feels disorienting to a certain degree. Plus, it's easier to hide shit around corners, right? Actors or props or whatever. There's the sense of the unknown around a corner. So there's always corners. There's always some kind of element of turning, right? But this place did something really fun at the end. So the group of four of us, the older couple and my friend and I, we enter the space, and it's definitely the last room. And there was definitely like a feel that like this was the climax of this space. And there's a character in there on stilts, and he rushes over, and it's some kind of like ritual theme. There has to be a sacrifice that has to take place. And the character asks our group, who in your group would be the best sacrifice? And my friend and I immediately pointed to the lady that was talking the whole time. Just because we were like, take her. Just fucking go.
Yeah.
We'll be okay without her. She like turned and like laughed and like put her hands on her hips and was like, me? And we're like, yes, just go. So there were two doors, one on each side of this throne. And he sent her off to one door and said, you go that way on your own. And at first, her husband tried to follow her, and the character was like, no, she's the sacrifice. She has to go alone. And she's like, all by myself? So he sent us three through the other door. And so the splitting up of group, that's not the cool part. I've designed rooms like that. It's a fun thing to do. It's especially cool that they did it at the end. I've designed that at the beginning. I've also seen that done in the middle. But at the end is really kind of unique, because usually at the end you want to just get them out, right? And by splitting up a group, that usually immediately causes a group to slow down, or at least one element of that group, either the part of the group that has the fewer amount of people, or the group that has the more scared people. Sometimes it's the same, but it slows you down. So at the end was kind of cool. But so we go into our door, and I'm in the front of this pack of three, and I feel my friend like grab my shirt behind, like on my back. Because the room that we enter, or the space that we enter, or the doorway, or however you want to describe this, just pitch black. I mean, just nothing. Like you couldn't see. Well, you couldn't see anything. Plus, it was filled with fog. And the only reason we knew it was filled with fog is because of the smell. But then also, like, once every 3 seconds, like a really long duration, this single, like, light flashed on and off. Like, that was it. And whenever that bright light came on, all you could see was, like, white fog in front of you. So you could not see anything. And I'm leading the way, blind, and I feel my friend tugging on my shirt to just know where I'm at. And my hands are outstretched in front of me because I'm feeling for the corner. I don't want to like walk in like face first into like the wall or whatever. So I'm feeling for that, waiting for that to happen. And I start to like laugh out of like, not out of amusement so much as like nervous laughter. Like, you know, I'm just like, oh, okay, like where's everything at? Because I don't feel anything yet, and we've been walking for a good like 10 feet or so at this point, and these are like tiny steps because we can't see anything. Mm-hmm. And I'm still feeling, I'm waiting for a corner that never comes ever, and I liked that a lot because it was the expectation of twists and turns as a haunted house should have, and the entire time you're waiting for that twist or turn, that left or right, and it just never comes. So they literally made me walk carefully down a straight hallway. Right? Which is just really amusing to think about. But at some point in time, the hand that was holding on to my shirt vanished. Don't know where he went. Or if he just like got, you know, slower than me or whatever it was. But now I truly do feel alone. Because my friend who was physically attached to me is now no longer there. I can't see anything. I'm laughing, but I don't hear any feedback from him necessarily. You know, it really was isolating. So that was kind of cool. I finally make the exit after about 50 or 60 feet, it feels like. And it could have been shorter than that, but perception is off, right? So I'm now outside. This is now I'm almost back to where we first went in at the queue line. And I turn around and my friend's not there. And I waited like 10, 15 seconds and then he finally pops out. But he's alone. And I'm like, where'd the other guy go? And he's like, I don't know. He let go of my shirt a long time ago. So then, no joke, I would say 45 seconds, almost a minute went by. And finally the guy pops out that was behind my friend. And he's like, I got lost. I didn't know where to go. And he was like, his excuse was that he started to walk so slowly that my friend behind me left him in the dust, basically. And he just didn't know where we went. And he didn't realize it was just a straight shot either. So he was just in there like panicking, you know, trying to figure out where to go. The whole time that we're talking about this, by the way, and the whole, you know, over maybe 90 seconds that it took the last guy to finally pop out after me, his wife has not appeared yet. Mm-hmm. She's still in there somewhere. I think another like minute or two go by, a really long time. To the point my friend had enough time to go use the porta johns, like the porta potty, come out and like start to like linger towards the merch shop. And then finally she came out and she was laughing her head off in hysterics. And I guess I asked her, I said, what was your side like? And her side was a series of back and forth hallways. And there were also actors in there messing with her. So that had to have been an awesome experience to go alone. So we did that. And then we decided, okay, it was like 10 o'clock or so. And he was still 3 hours from home and I was still 2. So we were like, let's start heading back towards our respective homes, and on the way, if there's a couple small haunted houses, we'll try to hit those up as well. And we ended up finding one that was an hour and 40 minutes away, but it wasn't directly towards where we lived. It was a good hour's drive out of the way, sort of, but sort of also in the direction. It was called A Night in the Manor. And no website, no contact information, there was a Facebook page that was updated like 2 weeks ago, and then the last time before that was last year. So just we hope this place exists, let alone is open. And there's a huge storm coming. They close at 11, and the GPS is going to put us there at 10:30. And it's been raining all night, and even more rain's coming while it's still raining. But it's like 5 miles from a state road, and it's 2 miles down another county road. So literally the middle of nowhere. And the closest town has a population smaller than the town I live in. And it's 30 minutes away. That's the closest town. So we're driving down this blacktop, 1-lane county road. Thunder and lightning in the background. Rain on the windshield. No lights. There's like you pass a house, and then a mile later there's another house. Fields in between. And my friend goes, I don't think this place is going to be open. I was like, I don't really think it's going to be either. But we'll drive by, and then we'll turn around and go toward the last place that we wanted to stop at, which was closer to home. We pull up on this building after we crested a small hill, and there was this building off to the right. And it was actually this facility, this attraction was actually at the county poor farm. I don't know if you know what that is. But we actually had one in our county. But most rural counties, at least in the Midwest, have or had something called a poor farm. And that was back in 30s and 40s and 50s or so, maybe even before then. For people who didn't have family usually, or were kind of outcasts of society for whatever reason, but also not quite in bad enough shape to be institutionalized. They needed a place to live and couldn't afford it, and also usually couldn't get a decent job. So you were sent to, or you went to, the poor farm. And basically for room and board, you were given jobs to do to keep the farm running. That was like the trade-off. And also, because you typically didn't have money, or you didn't have family, or both, if you died at the poor farm, you were buried at the poor farm. So most of these places also had small cemeteries. So we crest this hill and come down the county road, and again, lightning in the background, rain and stuff. And there's a street light on the property, like set off from the back of the road. And then the house it's a large house because it had to house 20 people or whatever. So quite large house, and a barn and some more outbuildings. But in one of the windows of the house is a strobe light, like flickering. So we go, this must be it, right? And sure enough, the GPS is like, here it is. Otherwise, no sign of life, right? There's a couple cars parked underneath the streetlight, but you could easily say those are just the people who live here. It was like a pickup truck and like a minivan, and that was it, right? No signs at all. Nothing that says open or even haunted house. Nothing. We decide to pull in anyway, because we're both white males in America, and we have that privilege. And so we pull in and we get out, and we're parked underneath this cone of safety that is the street light. Okay, and whenever we exit the vehicle, there's this faint sound of modern, like hip hop or rap music or something playing in the distance. And then there's that one strobe light flickering in the window up front of the house. And then on the back side of the property somewhere, there's also a faint glow of like a red light, like a party light or something like that. So we're thinking, okay, this must be something. It's not just somebody's house, right? We don't know where the entrance is, though. Again, no signs. And the thunder's getting closer. So we start to make our way around the front of this house, the front porch area of this house. There's a big old tree, and then there's like this giant porch with this big staircase. And on the porch is just filled with clutter. And not in the sense that like, oh, this is decorated like this, but more in the sense of like, 50 plus years of just storing junk on the porch, right? This is just a junk pile. That's all this is. And the closer we get to this porch, because we think maybe the entrance is at the front of the house, right? But the closer we get to the porch, the further away from the cone of safety we're getting. And it's just dark. We're just going to a darker place. And we both kind of nervously laugh and go, I don't think this is how you get in here. Let's go the other way. Let's go around the barn. So we head back towards the truck that we came in, back towards the cone of safety. And we go to the other side of the pickup truck, and we get within like 10 or 15 feet of this barn. And all of a sudden, we hear this rhythmic banging begin. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like coming from inside the barn, but we don't know where it's coming from. And it seems as though it's mechanical, but it did start up right as we got it close to the barn. So maybe it's not. But as we make our way around the barn, there's woods back here, like a tree line of some sort. And it just gets darker. So we again nervously laugh and go, I don't think this is the way either. Let's go back the way we came. So we start to head back towards the front of the building. And as we cross underneath the cone of light again, this rhythmic banging from inside the barn increases in tempo. Bang, 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 bang. And we're like, what the fuck is this? And it's super loud, but it's also inside the structure. So how can it be that loud and also seem so, ominous? And now it's faster, like it has some kind of intelligence behind it. So we make our way back the first way that we came towards the porch area, right? And we go further this time than we did the last time. And by going further, there was like a shed that was previously blocking our sight line from this door on the side of the house. And the door on the side of the house had a window, and through the window you could see like a kitchen light or some kind of bright interior light on. The first sign of like normal light or life that there has been. But we could also make out the silhouette of something affixed to the window, like a sign, like a poster or something. And we were thinking, oh, that must be the entrance, and maybe that's like, their haunted house, like welcome or like tickets or whatever. Because we also knew that it cost $10 to get in this thing, cash only. So we start to walk towards this white light door that we finally uncovered, and we get about 5 or 6 feet away. We still can't read what's on the sign because of just how backlit it is. But we get 5 or 6 feet away, and then all of a sudden, the banging inside the barn gets even faster. Bang, 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 bang. And we're like, what in the fuck is that? And then right as we say that to ourselves, and we're both like nervously like, are we about to be shot? Like where does the guy with the shotgun come from to tell us to get off his property? Right as we are thinking that, and I think I even said it out loud, we see what is written on the sign, and it says posted no trespassing. So now we're like, are we supposed to be here at all? So we do like a 180, and we're like, I don't know, maybe not. So we head back towards the cone of light once more, and the banging is fast still. It still hasn't decreased. It's bang, 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 bang. And it's definitely somebody hitting something. And the music also seems to have been turned up. Because now we can hear it more clear. And my friend just says, I don't know. I think there has to be something here because music and lights and, something's going. So he's like, we have to get to the other side of this place. So we say, okay, let's just go around the front and just fuck it. We'll just go. So we pass by the porch. And as we come around the other side of the house opposite to where we parked, we see in the distance, like on the side of the house, there must be like another porch light on or something, like a side porch or something, or a side entrance on this side of the building. But there's definitely a light on. And because of that light, there's enough glow in this side yard to give us the dim view of the silhouettes of tombstones. And we're thinking, oh, okay, this is like the side that's decorated. We must have parked on like the actor side or whatever, right? Okay. So we walk a little further. Sure enough, there's people on the side of the house. Hey, welcome, whatever. Oh, hey, it was hard trying to find the place. And then they laughed and was like, yeah, it's part of the process, I guess. And we were like, yeah, fun. So we were like, it costs $10, right? And the guy was like, yeah, cash only. So I hand him some money, and he gives us the rules of the place. He tells us that it's 3 stories, a basement, and plus 2 floors, plus the barn, plus one of the outbuildings that we didn't see yet was actually the old county jail. And it was all walk through that. And he said at the end, there's a slide. And I just want to warn you guys that at the bottom of the slide, there's quite a bit of a drop off. We have an old mattress down there, but because of the rain, everything's wet. So be careful. So we're like, okay.
Great.
So we're already like, our anxiety and fear is already like, way the fuck up here, right? Because we're in the middle of nowhere. Literally, no one who we know on this earth knows where we're at right now. We've not posted this. We've not told anyone. We barely have signal. No one knows. We could easily be killed. It would take a month before anyone found us. Easily. Right? Yeah. So we go in. The haunted house part of it is interesting. I'll say that. It clearly was like under the radar. Like they're not following codes or whatever necessarily, In fact, part of the haunted house, there were like children, like age 8, that were like part of the haunted house, and they each carried like a strobe light, and they would be like, follow me, and then we would have to follow them because of how like complex their little maze was or whatever, because part of it you doubled back on yourself like on purpose, and it was really interesting how they fit this space into the building, but also very like questionable as far as like it's like the legit safety of it. Yeah. We did end up finding out who was making the sound in the barn. We actually found that character. But all in all, it was a crazy experience. The slide definitely was soaked, and we didn't know it until we sat down on it. I would do it again, but I don't think it could ever live up to the first time. Just that whole experience. So
yeah, so that was the experience.
The
guy was right.
Yeah, the guy was right. The guy was absolutely right. That was part of the experience. So after we slid down the slide, which is kind of on like the corner of the house, around from where we went in, we purposely went back up to that area just to say, hey, thanks, it was fun, goodbye, whatever. And then we walked back through their little cemetery scene and back to the car, So I pull up the GPS to find out how to get out of here quickly and onto our next and final haunted house. And where I pull it up and zoom into the map where we are right now to see if we have to turn left or right or whatever, it shows the property, but then it says Old County Cemetery. It's marked on the map. So I zoom in a little bit more, and the little scene that we traipsed through with the silhouetted out tombstones was the legit actual cemetery of this property. And I was like, holy fuck. like we probably walked on dead people just to get here. But yeah, so after that we drove to the next haunted house, which was fun on its own, but it definitely didn't live up to the one main one of the night or the one in like the boonies with the questionable structure. But yeah, all in all, crazy night. I think we did 4 actual haunted houses, and then if you count the first one, a 5th haunted house, which is a personal record outside of like a theme park type situation. But yeah, 5 haunted houses in one day, and what an experience! What a roller coaster of like, this is awesome, this is great, to like, are we actually going to die? Are we? Yeah. Yeah. Just a wild time. So that was my Saturday, and then the whole week has just been downhill since then. Sunday sucked, so yeah,
back to like actual real life.
Yeah. So have you done anything close to that this week?
I would say potentially yes.
Oh, really?
Because on Tuesday the 21st, my partner and I went up to Kent, Ohio.
Oh yeah, I've heard of the place.
And we got to see the Dollop live in person.
That's right, you did. That was a Tuesday. That seems like forever ago.
If there's anybody listening that is not familiar, the Dollop is a wonderful history podcast with two comedians. Fascinating, very funny, very entertaining, very also pretty educational. I've learned a lot of things from that show. So yeah, they do live tours, and I've wanted to see them for like probably close to 10 years. And
wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think. Long. You're right.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And so it just, the opportunity never really happened. And then they announced this tour while me and my partner were in Seattle. If you remember that pre-show at the time of release a few weeks ago or whatever, we went to Seattle, and actually while there, the Dollop posted a thing on their Patreon about how they're going on tour, a Midwest tour.
I remember this.
And they had, if you're in the Patreon, they had like here's a code, you get early access to the tickets.
Like pre-sale.
And so I was looking at their dates, and they had one that said Cleveland, and I was like, oh my God, we're doing this. And I clicked on it. It was actually in Kent, which is definitely not Cleveland and is like kind of closer to Akron. But so it's in Kent, which is an hour away from here. And I was like, I'm doing it. And I immediately went to the website, put in the code. I purchased the front row center seats. And I immediately logged into my ADP, and I put in for that night off. And I was like, if they don't give me the night off, I'm not showing up. So
I'm going
that's
no matter
up to
what.
them.
Yeah.
That's up to them to figure out. So yeah, I got the tickets while on Bainbridge Island, sitting in our Airbnb. And so the day finally came. We got there. So the show itself was scheduled for 7:30. The doors were scheduled to open at 6:30.
Yeah.
And we got there at about 5:30 or so. And so we just we parked in a garage just like a block or two away. We walked over to where the theater was, and then we just kind of like walked around the block, and we ended up going into some coffee shop. We had coffee, I guess you could call it, drinks. I say that because it wasn't like, it was kind of just like a sugary, like, maybe there was coffee in it also kind of drink,
flavored water.
One of those kind
Syrup?
of things.
Yeah.
So it was like a special menu item, like a Halloween menu item. It was called the Graveyard. And I was like, I want to try that. And it was like a chocolate drink with like whipped cream on top and like gummy worms in it to simulate. So it was really interesting.
Sugar in every state of matter, basically solid, liquid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty tasty, pretty decent. So we kind of just hung out there. They closed at 5:30, or no, they closed at 6, I think. Anyway, so
early?
They closed at 6. That was just their schedule. They closed at 6 on the weekdays. And so we stayed there until about 5:50, and then we left. We walked back over to the theater where the show is, and there was like a little bench outside. And so we sat on the bench, and it was not too bad outside. So we were just kind of like
chilled.
sitting there. Like the sun was setting. There was like nice sunlight glow and everything. And it was really nice
Peaceful.
out. And we were just kind of looking around. There was a dude who like comes around the corner, and he's wearing a t-shirt that says currently protesting something. And I just kind of like chuckled, and I like turned to my partner and I was like, did you see that guy's t-shirt? And she was like, yeah. And then the dude sat down like on the other side of this bench, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. If anyone doesn't know the Dollop that's listening to this, a lot of their stuff is very political. It's there's a lot of politics involved. Anyway,
just to caveat that, I wouldn't say it's intentionally political. It's just they cover American history, and a lot of that deals with politics and the politics of now and then. So,
then a lot of these stories also end with the hosts Dave and Gareth kind of relating what happened in the topic of the show to current events.
Yeah.
But anyway, so anyway, that all that is to say that this guy's t-shirt, like, it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
I was wearing a Karl Marx t-shirt.
Oh, yes.
My partner that said, "I told you this would happen," and my partner had on, like, she has like a 10-cent beer night t-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Classic episode.
I saw someone. Sorry to interrupt this story, but I saw someone. Where did I see this? Someone had on a shirt, and the back of it, like they were walking away from the camera, and the back of it said, "Bring back 10-cent beer night." And I was like,
Oh, really?
Dollop
Yeah,
reference.
yeah.
Or even just history.
Just in general. Yeah, so we were just kind of sitting there, and that dude, the random guy that sat down, was asking like, yeah, what time is this place open or whatever? And I was like, the website said that the doors open at 6:30 or whatever, but the show's at 7:30. And he was like, "Have you ever seen them before?" And I said, "No, I've wanted to for a long time, but this is like the first time I've had a chance to." And he's like, "Yeah, I saw them twice," and blah blah blah. And then anyway, he ended up getting up, and like, there's like a Jimmy John's right next door. I think he went over there.
He had to go protest something else.
Yeah, he was he was on the move.
Like,
The impression I got was that he didn't even have tickets at that point, because I think he mentioned something about like, I wonder if there's still tickets or whatever. So I think he may have just like
been hopeful,
wanted to like last minute, just like, maybe he just like was able to make it.
Yeah,
and wasn't for
unless
sure.
he, like he was asking like the sold out status of the show. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that guy left, and we were just kind of talking. And so this place, it's kind of like an old style theater set up. And so you have the marquee was like right above our heads, basically where we were sitting. And they had the old, it was like the entrance and exit doors, like directly across from us, like double swinging doors and whatever. They were closed off, and they had arrows that said like enter over here, because there was like a door off to the side that said like box office or whatever, and that's where you're actually supposed to enter the building. And so those double glass doors aren't really used. But so we're sitting there just kind of talking and hanging out, waiting. But I keep thinking to myself, like, oh man, like it'd be cool. I was kind of like looking around at the parking lots, and I was like, what if we see the van?
Oh yeah,
they do the tours
van
in their like white van, Steve Van Seagal, they've named
Steve
it.
Van.
And so I kind of kept looking around at that stuff and whatever, and I was like, I don't see any vans. And so we're just kind of hanging out, and I do see a van pull up in the reflection of the glass, and I was just kind of looking at it, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be funny if that was them? And I turned around and looked, and there's Luke in the driver's seat.
Oh no, shit! That's awesome!
Yeah. And like me and Luke like lock eyes for a second, and I like elbowed my partner, and I was like, that's the van. And I was like, there's Luke. And she turned around and looked, and she like gasped, and then the van like
sped off.
Took a left turn. Yeah. Middle fingers up at us. The van takes a left turn around the corner, like from where we were sitting to our right. So they turn around that corner. And so we're just kind of like, oh man, that was wild. That was cool. I can't believe that. And then like a few minutes later, a few other people who are obviously showing up for the show show up, and they're kind of lingering around the entrance. And this kind of older lady, comes up, and she was like, did you guys see Luke? And we were like, yeah, they just like pulled by right around there. And she was like, yeah, they're just right over there, like unloading equipment or whatever. And I kind of was just chuckling, and I said to my partner, like, it's funny that within this weird community, they're like, Luke is like a huge celebrity. Yeah. Where everybody is like, oh my God, it's Luke.
Yeah.
He's just this fucking random dude.
I like the idea that
he's not even on the podcast.
No, he's not. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think that like they had planned to unload at the most convenient spot there in the front, and then Luke locked eyes with you and was like, no, not here.
Yeah, we gotta go to find a different way.
We'll make it harder on ourselves.
Yeah. So anyway, the doors finally open, and we go inside, and I had kept seeing things about this show, like on the website mentioning, and in this email that I got mentioning something about like a Q&A after the show.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know if I have a Q&A. Like I kept looking at my ticket on my phone, and it doesn't say anything about a Q&A. It just says the Dollop 7:30, and I looked at their website, and I was like,
an extra thing.
I can't find anything about a Q&A.
Right.
I evidently bought Q&A tickets also.
Oh.
It was like included, because they apparently had like if you paid this much money for your ticket. The Q&A is included. And so because my ticket was over $75, we also got the Q&A. So they had this dude on the inside, and I like showed him my ticket, and I was like, I hope I'm in the right spot. I don't know. And he was like looking at my phone, and he was like,
why are you here?
I'm not seeing what, and he was like, I should be seeing two whatever. And I was like, oh, and I hit this button where it shows like both barcodes.
Yeah.
For mine and my partner's ticket, and I showed him my phone again, and he was like, no. And I was like, okay. He was like, how much did you spend on your tickets? And I was like, oh, I still have my email. And I like pulled it up, and I was like, both tickets were after tax, blah, 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 blah. And I like showed it to him, and he was like, okay, you're good. And then he gave us this like arm bracelet thing for the Q&A, because after the regular show is over, they have an employee who walks to check if you have that bracelet, and you get to stay for the Q&A.
Oh, okay.
So there were like maybe I would say 20 to 30 maybe at most, maybe 20, 25 people that that were there for the Q&A afterward. But anyway, we get in, they had a bar in there, didn't do any of that. Went into the actual auditorium itself or whatever. They had like an employee like look at your ticket, direct you to your seat, and so we just kind of were hanging out there, and we were actually the first ones in. And
awesome.
similar
yeah.
to you. And so we sat down, and they already had their chairs set up on stage, the microphones were set up, like they had their whole on stage set up. And there was like a GoPro on a tripod at the edge of the stage, getting a shot of like what they're going to be putting up on their Patreon for like the live video or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And Luke comes over, and he's setting that up. And again, we're front row center seats, and so he's just like a few feet in front of us.
Stares you down again.
And I was like, oh, there's Luke. And he like walked off, went backstage, grabbed something, like came back up. And so they have a new thing on their Patreon at the time of recording. It's a new thing on their Patreon where, because Luke is so popular within the Dollop circle, they have created a few weeks ago at the time of recording a thing on their Patreon where Tuesdays it's like Luke Day. And so Luke gets to do, like, he posts something on Tuesdays on their Patreon, and it's just like whatever he wants to do or talk about or whatever it is. And in the last one, he was giving he was health recommendations with his special guest, whom he couldn't name.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned this.
Due to national security reasons. Uh-huh. It was Dr. Bobby in quotation marks. But anyway, Luke called this "Thank Luke It's Tuesday" is what it was. Tuesday. And by coincidence, the show that we're at was on a Tuesday. And so as he was walking up to the camera for the second time, I kind of leaned forward and I said, "Thank Luke It's Tuesday." And he looked at me, and he had a mask on, but he looked at me, and I could just tell that he smiled, and he kind of nodded his head at me. And he did whatever adjustments he was doing with the electronics. And so me and my partner were just kind of talking, and he finished up whatever he was doing. And then he was walking up the aisle, which was directly to my right. But as he was walking up, he actually stopped, and he said, "What was your name?" And I said, "Oh, I'm Thomas." And he said, "Nice to meet you, Thomas. I'm Luke." And he gave me a fist bump. Yeah. And I said, "Nice to meet you as well, Luke." And then he walked off.
That's awesome.
And so my partner was very jealous. So there's a whole inside joke thing. So I'm going to put her on blast a little bit. My partner, well, she finds all three of the fellas attractive, but she thinks Gareth is really hot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
and, but she also really likes Luke, and she said oh, if I was going to date one of them, I would date Luke. And so whenever this happened, she was really jealous. She was he didn't even acknowledge my presence or whatever.
That's funny.
So anyway,
she held your hand, but just that hand all night.
Right. So yeah, the place, he's setting up his stuff and doing whatever, and the place is kind of filling up more. And it's about showtime. And the show starts, and Dave and Gareth come out, and it's fucking great. Gary Chant
Yeah.
starts up. She was really surprised. She said that they were more handsome in person, and she was like, Gareth was looking fucking good. And I admit, yeah, Gareth was looking fucking good. His outfit was great. His hair looked really great. He was a handsome fellow. I'll give him that much. So we get a few minutes into the story, and they have like a laptop set up, and it's projecting pictures that correspond with the story on like a big screen behind them where they're sitting. And the screen actually goes out. It turns black in the middle of the story. Well, not in the middle, at the beginning, basically. We're on like the second slide, and the screen goes out. Technical difficulty. Dave and Gareth are like fumbling around with like the cord and like trying different stuff and looking, nothing. The crowd, it's fucking great. It was actually really great, and Gareth is being fucking funny,
of course.
and so they both go, where the fuck is Luke? Like Luke's supposed to be here for this, and they're like, Luke, and like Luke's not showing up. Nobody knows where he is, and Gareth is like, on the count of 3, everybody yell Luke. 1, 2, 3, and the whole place, Luke.
That's awesome.
And then like a few seconds later, Luke comes. He comes running down the aisle, and he jumps onto the stage. Fucking awesome. The crowd's going crazy. He goes over there behind their setup. He reaches down, and just instantly the screen comes on.
His back.
And the place goes nuts, and he fucking does like a 2 hands like cheering himself on as he like runs off the side of the stage.
That's hilarious.
So we get a couple more slides in, and it happens again. It goes out, and Luke runs down there again, jumps up on stage. The place is going nuts. He goes back behind there, and nothing. He's like fucking around with it. Nothing's happening.
Uh-oh.
Some lady, to my right, over my right shoulder, like on the right side of the auditorium, says something like, she like shouts out something about like, oh, we're used to listening to it anyway, just go ahead, like we don't need the pictures or whatever. And Gareth is like, are you just speaking for everyone here? and he was like, do you have like a place to be after this or something? Like what? And so Gareth is like making fun of this woman who for everyone is deciding that, oh, just go ahead, we don't need the pictures.
It's fine, yeah.
And Gareth is like ripping on her, and he's like, actually, I think we'd prefer to have the pictures. Like Dave puts a lot of work into choosing these, and there's like a lot that goes into this. And so they're messing around, and it's several minutes. They're trying to get this on. They call up another person. They say it's Luke too. The second person comes up, nothing. They're like, maybe we can get somebody that actually like works here. There's a third guy that comes out, and they're like, this is the ultimate Luke. And this third guy, so there's Luke and 2 other guys that are fucking messing around with this stuff, and nothing's happening. And finally a screen pops up.
Ooh.
And it's like, it's not the slideshow, it's like all of these different like options of what to put up on the screen basically.
Oh.
And so that comes up, and then it goes black again, and nothing's happening. And some dude to my left this time, on the left side of the auditorium, shouts out like, you need to select mode, select blah, blah, blah. So he's like yelling out instructions.
The menu options.
Gareth is kind of like, excuse, like, sir, do you want to come up here? And this guy comes and jumps up on the stage, and he goes back there. Boom, boom, boom. Comes up on the screen. And everybody is like cheering. And then we realize that that's not the right thing. They pulled up like their internet tabs. And so it's like the movie Stargate. It's like paused. The movie Stargate is pulled up on the screen. And Gareth is like, what? Why are you cheering? He didn't fucking fix it. This isn't the right thing. And so that dude goes back up there, and he's messing around, and the screen goes black again. And then after like another minute or so, maybe, that guy kind of like looks up and like shrugs, and he's like, I don't know. He gets off the stage, and then
everyone boos him and pelts him with food.
Yeah, we're all like, get out of here. After like a few more minutes, at some point, finally, they got it up. They got the slides up, and it was or no. So at first they gave up. Actually, sorry, they gave up at first, and they were like, "Well, maybe we'll just fucking like." They're like, "It's not going to be great."
You guys are used to hearing this on the podcast.
They decided to like turn the laptop toward the crowd,
Oh.
and they just like, so a teeny tiny screen, but we're in the front center, so we can see exactly what it is. And so they continue the story a little bit, and they go like forward a slide, and they're showing a picture, and somebody yells out like, "Describe it!" And so Gareth is like looking at the picture on the laptop, and he's like, "The one that I remember is a picture of this fucking dude, like an old picture," and he goes, imagine Abraham Lincoln without the beard and without the top hat." He's just like describing what the fucking pictures are. The next slide comes up, and he's like, imagine. And he's just like describing these pictures.
Imagine.
It was actually really fucking funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, at a certain point, I think Luke or someone else, one of these people actually got it pulled up. They got the slides up on the screen again.
Oh, nice.
And so they were back up on the screen.
The hero.
And so they were continuing the story, and they were going to go with the next slide. And they were kind of like, are we going to be able to turn the laptop back around?
Oh, yeah.
Or will it
Don't
cut
move.
it out? Because what had happened, that's it. Luke fixed it. He like came out with like a different cord, and he like reconnected it, and then it came up. But anyway, so Dave is like slowly turning the laptop back around, and it goes black.
No!
Yeah. And like Luke comes back out there, and he like fiddles with it for a second, and it comes back up, and everything's great. The day is saved. The slides stay up from that point on. It doesn't go back out, but the technical difficulties was fucking great. And me and my partner kept saying, like, whenever they post this episode on their Patreon or whatever, like the video version, I hope they keep all that in, because it was so funny.
It sounds like that was like a good, like, what, 10 minutes maybe?
It seems like it was a good 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it was very funny the whole time. And so then the rest of the show continues. The story was funny. They had these recurring bits of like, it was like this mansion that was built in Cleveland for this rich dude. And Dave pulled up a picture of it, and they were talking about the building. And Dave had mentioned that like how they had built this house. He said that there was like 2 foot thick walls. Mm-hmm. The walls were like 2 feet thick from outside to the interior. And he said that it was, the way it was like 8 inches in empty space and 8 inches of wall. And
wow.
So Gareth makes a joke about like there's enough space to like put a human inside of it or something like that. And then so for like the rest of the show, he had this bit of like being the person who is living inside the wall. He's like, hello, and he like won't shut the fuck up, and he keeps like bothering the guy that lives there.
That's awesome.
And he like won't die. They like don't give him any food or water. And then like toward the end of the show, he's like, I'm like 90 now. He's like, I don't know how I'm not dead. And he's like still talking, but he's just like fucking annoying. And he's just like asking all these annoying, stupid questions, just pissing off the guy that lives there. So there was that bit. And then there was another one of, it was like these religious people that were not allowed in this location, in this story, to make it as simple as possible. It was like these women of this religious sect that were not allowed in this like church or this building, whatever it was that was built at one point. And for some reason, these women that weren't allowed in there, Dave, as his bit for that story, he was like yelling at the women, get in the mud. And so for the rest of the show, he keeps coming back to send her in the mud and shit, like everything that would happen in the story. And Gareth made a joke about like how that could be like a new Bravo reality show where Dave is like a host of this reality show, and he has to decide whether a canceled celebrity gets to be allowed back in Hollywood or if they have to get in the mud. And so he's like, Cameron Diaz is working her way back into Hollywood. Is she allowed in, or does she have to get in the mud? And Dave is like, I think she needs to get in the mud. And so that was like a recurring bit. It was awesome. The the episode is actually really fascinating, and I looked up. Part of the story was there was a train derailment, like a horrible, not derailment. There was a bridge collapse that the train was on.
Worse.
And it was actually really crazy, really interesting, and basically like the structure of this bridge was compromised from the beginning. It was like made not following any kind of codes or anything.
Yeah, because they used all
like
the bricks in the house
to save money and wood. And so this bridge collapsed, and like a whole bunch of people died actually by burning alive for the most part, because everything was like made of wood, and this train collapsed into the river that it was over. But at the point of where this bridge was above, it's only like a few feet. So the people who survived the collapse were still there. But the like coal and the fire within the train caught the wooden fucking vehicle itself on fire. And like I think this like 90 plus people like just burned alive in this thing. And so all this shit, it was really fascinating. And I afterward, when I got home, I actually looked up where this was, and I found where like the modern day, like where that bridge is now. And there seems to be like a walking trail that goes by down there, and I like to drive up there and go see it at some point. I think it'd be interesting. But really interesting like piece of history that none of us knew. That's just like an hour to our north. I don't know. It was a really interesting show. And then the Q&A afterward.
Did you ever
started,
cue anything?
Yeah, I did a couple. They came back out, and at first I think everybody was kind of hesitant, and Gareth was like, without the cues, this is going to be pretty short. Like the cue portion of this is pretty important. And so a few people started asking questions finally, and I asked a couple questions. The first one I had to ask, my favorite podcast, like one of the podcasts I listen to all the time, Will is well aware, is Knowledge Fight. And so I asked if I was like, I know that you guys were guests on Knowledge Fight in the past, but I was like, is there any chance that you guys would do something with them, like have them as guests on like a Past Times episode or whatever like that? And Dave was like, oh, I just met with them for lunch just like a couple of days ago. And I was like, oh fuck, really? And he was like, yeah. And he was talking about how they're good guys and blah blah blah, and they were kind of like, yeah, Past Times, that'd actually be a pretty good idea. I might do that. And
nice.
So and then the other question that I asked was because we got to, there was a lot of fun questions and show specific questions and whatnot, and then it kind of veered into like current events, like asking like, what are your thoughts on X, Y, or Z, or how do we get blah blah blah. And I had asked the question that I asked was like, I'm curious if a person is still on board with everything at this point, is it even worth still like trying to talk to them? And
good question.
Gareth was like, what do you mean? Like still like MAGA and stuff? And I was like, yeah. Like if somebody is like making excuses for what's happening, or they approve of what's happening, they're into everything that's going on still. Is there any point in like still trying to talk to that person? I kind of meant politically. I didn't like, most people I know in my personal life do not align politically with anything. It's not like I can't be friends with them, but I kind of, just mean like politically, is there any point in trying to talk to them or like put some sense into their heads? And Dave and Gareth both were like, yeah, definitely. Like, definitely you should still try to talk to them. Yes. And, Dave made the good point. He was like, you're not going to make any of these people Democrats, but you can bring them to the left for sure. Yeah. And he's like, and an easy way to go about that is shit on Joe Biden. Joe Biden was fucking terrible. And he was like, that's an easy in. That's something that you
common
guys
ground
agree with. He's like, start with that. That's a good way to do it. And so they both kind of went on that. There was like a really sweet but sad question. There was a dude who was just like behind me during the Q&A who actually had a question. I guess he had like a cat that just had passed away.
Oh gosh,
And
sorry.
he
I thought you were going to
was
say he has a cat who was MAGA, and I was like, what in the
oh
fuck?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That was really kind of sad, but it was really sweet.
He can't talk to his cat anymore because
Yeah, he's like, I was looking to get rid of my cat.
he had a cat that went like ultra right.
It
Sorry,
won't get rid of its MAGA hat.
It's really sad that he lost his cat. Sorry.
Yeah, this guy who's like 4-year-old cat, I guess, had just passed away, and he was like explaining how he's been like really bummed out, and he was like, I don't know, like do you have any tips on like how to move on from that or whatever? And it actually was like very sweet because Gareth, they weren't like joking around or giving people shit during any of these. They were like really nice.
Serious answers. Yeah.
And Gareth went on like a long, like kind of rant talking about like how precious like our pets are to us, and like how impactful something like that can be. Like whenever this little animal that like always gets really happy when you come home, and it's like it loves you so much, and like you're the only person that matters to that animal. And he was like really sweet, and like I looked over at my partner beside me, and her like eyes were watery, and she was like, oh my god, this is so sad. And it was very nice. I've never heard, I don't think I had heard, even in like Dollops on their Patreon, which is like more casual talk and like current events, which is more serious and less jokey usually. Even in stuff like that, I don't think I'd ever heard Gareth kind of like
be sincere,
like
100%,
an emotional kind of like talk about something emotional in that way. It was really interesting.
What was his answer, if you can summarize?
It's essentially is just like time, just like over time. There's not like an easy solution for it. They were just like over time, you just kind of like, it'll just start to hurt slightly less as time goes on, essentially. But that was really interesting, really nice. The lady who like had yelled out like, just go without the pictures. She was there too, and they like kind of made fun of her a little bit at first. But yeah, no, it was really great. And then the Q&A ended, and they definitely seemed tired. It was like a long day for them, I'm sure, and they definitely seemed kind of tired by the end of it. And so I think they were like coming up to the stage, and a few people were like going up to the stage to like say hi or whatever, but we were kind of like, we'll just let them be. And so we walked out, and we were walking toward the exit, and Luke,
I was hoping there was gonna be another Luke.
this is disappointing.
Oh damn.
Luke was like coming up, and he was like, if anybody's interested in merch, you can go up this ramp to the left, and in that room over there we have like merch table set up and stuff. And we were like, fuck yeah. And so we walked in there, and Luke was like at the table, and they had like t-shirts and stuff like that. And so we were kind of lingering back a little bit because there was like several people that were up there like buying stuff, and so we were kind of like looking around, and I noticed there was a thing on the table that said like cash please or whatever, and I was like, I don't have cash. And she was like, I do, but it's for the parking garage. And I was like, oh, okay. And so we turned around and left.
Oh damn. And there's no like ATM inside or anything, as far as they didn't have that set up?
Not that I'm aware. I wasn't gonna.
That's unfortunate.
To an ATM anyway. So didn't get anything, but we could have, because my partner was a silly goose and didn't pay attention to the fact, or didn't remember anyway, the fact that the parking garage said it was cash at these kiosks inside the garage. You could find these kiosks they had like in the like next to the elevators or whatever in the stairs, and you could pay cash for your ticket at those. Otherwise, it's card. You like, if you're going out the exit gate, you pay by card. And so we get to the exit gate, and she's like, there's no cash option. And I was like, yes, that was at the kiosks. This is card only.
Oh, man.
And so we paid by card to get out of there. And I was like, so you have fucking cash that we could have used to get like
you
stickers
asshole.
or something.
You could have bought something.
Yep. And
but the point is, though, is that you didn't let capitalism take over your night. So
exactly. Yeah.
You didn't give in.
Somewhat. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was a great night, And
That's awesome.
I would love to see them again
I
at
would
some
like to see
point
them
next time they come back through.
because they were in my area, like in Indianapolis, before or after
Yeah, they
that
had an
night.
Indianapolis show. Yeah, I think maybe the night before.
Yeah, but it like through the week, I just there's no way I could, unless I took
Yeah,
off in advance. But I
yeah,
do still love. I was going to say this the other day, but I figured it wouldn't make sense to say it then. But it makes sense now. I do really like what Dave, or I guess Dave or Gareth, answered as far as your question about talking to those people. Yeah, I still talk to them, but that also kind of goes into. I really like that those two, with the show, still go to these these places in what is normally like the looked over area for tours. I mean, even for like comedy stuff, it's
hmm
it's hard to like get bigger names in these areas. Music's getting that way too, and I think
yeah,
part of that
for
is
sure.
the political climate of artists not wanting to kind of be in these areas. You know,
Yeah, along those lines, I began wondering. I don't know if they go to Florida.
that's
I'm not
true.
sure that I've seen them do like an Orlando show or anything.
Or
I
even
could be
like a
completely wrong, but
or even like a
I've
southern states in general.
I've not noticed in their tours unless I just have overlooked some in the past. But I haven't noticed any like Florida stops in
Yeah,
any of their tours.
yeah, that's right. I mean, it doesn't stand out to me either, but we both could be wrong, I guess. But
hmm
um, yeah, I'm curious if that is true. Why there? But I mean, but maybe it's just logistically, it's hard to get down to
Yeah,
Florida, and I don't know because it's some of the places that they go through in the Midwest, it's pretty much on like the same interstate,
yeah,
because
like
since
yeah,
they drive
straight line
everywhere.
shot for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, huh?
Whereas that is like yeah, I don't know because they could still do like a probably what like a um Richmond, Virginia, like Atlanta, Georgia
Yeah,
stops or whatever stuff like that.
I,
I don't
I'm
know.
I'm I'm sure they go over well in Atlanta, and even some places in North Carolina probably too.
hmm
But even then, from Atlanta south, like there's not much in Florida that. I mean, you're talking about Jacksonville or Tallahassee, one of those two. I don't really know if that's again. It's not like just because a state is a certain
Yeah,
majority that means it's all
yeah.
of them. So I'm sure that they would still have
Ohio,
fans there,
yeah,
but
Indiana, yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But even then, you're talking, from Atlanta to Florida. Like I said, you have Jacksonville, maybe I guess, or Tallahassee, maybe. But then really, you don't have any place until like possibly Orlando area. But that's like you're getting like a
Yeah,
bunch of
maybe
old
like
people.
Gainesville or Ocala, maybe. Those aren't like really big areas either.
Yeah,
But
and,
I
and
mean,
I,
neither is Kent.
well, yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is like I guess it's just kind of like maybe not, and maybe they base this off of just like where their listeners, like the
Yeah, I
map.
don't know.
I don't know,
Mhm.
but that's interesting. And maybe maybe it's just purely like either they just hate Florida or purely like a logistical like once we get down to Florida, we then have to go back through Florida.
Maybe,
Like there's no state next door that we haven't touched yet. Because like if they go Atlanta to whatever, they would have to go back through Georgia, basically, or Birmingham.
maybe next Q&A I can
There you
ask.
go. Listen,
That'll be my question.
why the fuck?
Why don't you go to
Why did
Florida?
you from? Why you fuckers go to Florida? Show your faces in the true South.
The other question that I considered asking, I just didn't want to keep asking them, like, what about these people? Like, I didn't want to keep asking them questions about other people. But the other
Tell me
question that
who
I
not
wanted
to
to
talk
ask,
to, please.
the other question I wanted to ask but didn't was I wanted to know if they would ever, if they were going to or wanted to or had ever considered Connor O'Malley being like a guest on the Pastimes, because that would be fucking
Oh,
great. And I didn't want to just ask questions about other people repeatedly and ask like, what about this person that I'm
I like
sure other
this
people
guy.
have talked to you about?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was, I don't think it would be the case, but there was a teeny tiny part of me that was also worried about like Dave being like, yeah, he's a fucking horrible person. Like that's the other thing.
Fuck that guy.
So I didn't want
Fucking
that. I didn't think that would happen. It doesn't
right
seem like
wing
that would be the
Nazi.
case.
Like, no.
Yeah. Have you seen his like Trump rally videos?
Yeah, you don't know shit about him. He puts on a front the whole time. He's really a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, he's putting on a front of himself putting on a front.
Yeah. Would that have been embarrassing to hear, or would it have been embarrassing if they would have said who?
I don't know if I would have really been embarrassed about either.
Okay.
Personally,
You've no shame. I think I would feel awkward if I asked that and they said who? Like, who the fuck are you talking about? Because then I'm like, I'm the douchebag who brought up the guy who no one knows about.
That nobody knows. I was happy that whenever I asked, because I was also slightly hesitant to asking about Dan and Jordan from Knowledge Fight, because I was like, I'm also here with a bunch of other people, and if they don't know who I'm talking about either, then this is like a waste of their time.
I feel like Knowledge Fight though is more a possibility because it's sort of in the same vein as
yeah,
Dave
I agree. That's why I asked it.
Yeah,
and plus I knew that they had been on their show before, so I knew that at least they knew for sure what I was talking about.
Connor, I mean, I'm not saying that no one in the audience has not seen something that he's been in, but do they even know his real name?
Mm-hmm.
You know, whereas I think the Knowledge Fight that rings a bell. That's easier to ring a bell with people.
I was delighted that whenever I asked, I mentioned, I think I started off by saying that something about like, you guys and Knowledge Fight are the only shows that I listen to or something like that. And I heard somebody like behind me to my right, like I heard somebody like acknowledge it vocally in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what noise they made exactly, but there was somebody that made an indication of like, oh yeah, that made me happy.
I think it would have been kind of funny if after the question of, you know, should these people that are maybe too far gone or on the ultra right or whatever, should they still be talked to or, you know, brought into circles or whatever? I think it would have been kind of funny if you would have been like, so as a follow up to my last question, would you ever have Alex Jones on Pastimes?
I actually considered asking if there was any chance of an Alex Jones Dollop. I think that'd be fucking great.
I don't. Would it though? I don't know, because I feel like it's one of those things where, everything you think about that dude is probably already like is probably all there is to know about him. Whereas someone like you know, like a Bill Clinton episode like they did, people might have a certain. No, I guess not the Dollop fans, because the Dollop fans are probably different. But at least, you know, there's always this certain like assumption of who the person is, who they give off, and then there's this actual like darker truth. Whereas I mean, it would only be an interesting episode if it's like Alex Jones is actually a really great guy, and he's like, you know, he gives to charity all the time, and he's actually, you know, he was raised really poor, and he's always giving back, and then, you know. That might be more interesting than like Alex Jones is the exact asshole douchebag you think he is, and he's always been this way.
That's also why I didn't ask.
Yeah, exactly.
And plus, I also know enough because Dan on Knowledge Fight has also gone quite into like his background. So I guess Alex just grew up fucking wealthy. Like his dad is like a dentist, and like he got his start because his dad paid for him to have his start on radio, and so it was never like a climb up, really.
Yeah, spoiled little brat, yeah.
But yeah, all that to say that was great. I did want to also mention that I don't know if I ever mentioned it on any of these pre-shows or not, but I did get a summons. You know this, obviously, but I did get a summons for jury duty.
Yeah.
That's actually, at the time of recording, supposed to be for the next 2 weeks, beginning Monday, this upcoming Monday.
Oh, nice.
And I opted in... Whenever I filled out my questionnaire thing, I opted in. They had like an option for like a text message. So you don't have to call this number to find out when you go in. You can opt in for like a text message you'll receive to say,
now
like,
the feds
tomorrow
have your
you need
number.
to be down to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they probably already do.
Oh,
so
you're right.
That matters.
You're true. Yeah.
So they text me. I woke up today after a long, really exhausting, horrible night last night. I woke up at like
You too.
4:00
PM?
and it said that, yep, you are receiving reporting instructions for Monday, October 27th. Please locate your juror number.
Ooh.
Jurors 1 through 89, I'm 86, must appear on Monday, October 27th at 8:30 a.m.
It's going down.
Jurors 90 through 500 do not appear and will get a new message on Monday afternoon.
500?
Evidently.
Jeez.
Parking, they have like they sent another message about like where they recommend parking downtown, because there's like not parking downtown's not great.
Yeah.
And then so I text my boss and I was like, hey, just so you know, I am called in for Monday. I will not be at work on Sunday night. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I signed up for a text message thing. I don't know if you guys need me to send you like screenshots to
Proof or
like
whatever.
verify any of this stuff. And he was like, no, it's fine. And so I was like, cool. And then about an hour later, I get a jury duty update text. Jurors number 1 through 89 do not report on Monday. The trial is canceled. There are no trials next week. All jurors will get a new message next Friday p.m. So then I text my boss and I said...
Oh, I would have been like, do I text my boss?
I contemplated, because I could have technically got just taken the day off if I wanted. But I went ahead and texted him.
You're a good boy. Yeah.
I guess it's going to be... I said Monday's canceled. I will be in all week next week. They'll send me a message next Friday with more info, but as of now, they said nobody will report this week. And he texts me back, make up your mind, LOL. And I was like, should be the final answer. I was like, I'll see you Sunday night. So as of right now, I do not have to do any jury bullshit, at least as far as I'm aware. We'll see if they text me something different next Friday. But next Friday, Halloween. My partner and I are going out of town to an Airbnb.
Nice.
And I most likely will bring my recording equipment, because if we're able to record while I'm down there, we can post our first pre-show that day. October 31st could be the first pre-show release.
Or it could, or as the audience is hearing this, it could also be our welcome back message. Unless we post that this Monday.
No, we can do that. We can do that on Friday.
Okay. A week before?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe Monday. Maybe Monday will be that. And then,
and then
Friday.
Friday will be the first one, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think we'll do that.
Okay.
I'm sure this is... So if you're hearing this in the future,
you've already heard
you got a sneak peek into
how
the planning process
sneak peek into the past.
into how the planning process of our release goes.
Potentially, unless we change it and only you're aware of that as of this moment.
Yes.
But us in the past are not aware.
Regardless, we're back.
So then...
By the time you're hearing this.
Yeah. Yeah, weirdly enough, 10 weeks in, and you're...
If you're hearing this, we are back.
Or I guess depending on when this gets released, but potentially 10 weeks after the fact.
Well, regardless, if they're hearing this, we're back.
But yeah, but it could have been 10 weeks that we're back. So welcome to week 10 of yes. We're back, week 10.
But we're still back. We're back, though.
Or we're back. I can't wait, though, for next week's... I guess you won't know by next week if you have gone to jury duty yet. It'll be 2 weeks, potentially, from now, that you'll know if you've gone to jury duty. Because next week you'll just be finding out text message-wise.
Yeah, right.
I'm not saying I want you to go, but I'm saying it'd be good pre-show material.
Like spill the beans on whatever this case is.
Well, and I'm also curious, like, why... I mean, I get that they have to go through jury selection, but 500? That just seems like a crazy amount. I mean, you would think if they're doing less than 100 a day, jury selection, how many are they going to weed through each time? Probably not, a dozen maybe each time that they go through jury selection.
Well, I don't know. I think that they must send out a whole bunch and then like dwindle it down from there to decide which ones go to the selection phase. If only out of 500, only 89 were getting pulled into the like the first day.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
But like the first day, Monday, I'm going to assume was supposed to be first day of selection. And then out of that 89, maybe a dozen or 2 dozen might get sent back home, and then they'll pull that equivalent amount from the rest of the pool. So the guy,
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think that's how it works.
Well, that's not what I get from the impression of this text message, in which jurors 90 through 500 do not appear and will get a new message on Monday. Oh, on Monday afternoon. Right. Okay.
So that'll be after they go through the first part of selection. Yeah. So guy number 500 has to be like, I feel amazing. Whereas guy number 1 is like, God damn it. Like I'm going to be here every fucking day. Unless he gets sent home like day 1 or whatever. But
yeah, until 1 hour later, whenever they also get the message, hey, never mind.
Well, sure. Yeah.
We don't need you either.
Yeah. But I mean, if they do.
For that first hour.
If they do pull you in, unless they send guy number 1 home, first day, he's got to come back every single day. And either until he gets sent home or until jury starts. Whereas guy number 500 doesn't get picked until they go through 499 people before him. That's crazy.
Well, I'm really glad that it's canceled because...
Well, sure, yeah.
The thing that...
Because you hate doing any kind of civic duty. I understand. I get it.
Well, I don't really mind even doing the jury duty itself, to be honest. Gets me out of work, and I get to like be on a normal sleep schedule.
But this would be your first time,
minding any of that. Yeah, the thing that I really didn't want to have to do is because I work night shift, I didn't want to have to fucking flip-flop back and forth.
Yeah, you're right. That would be the worst.
Because the way that it was going to have to work is if I had to go on Monday, because my work week starts Sunday night, I would have not gone to work Sunday night so that I could be there Monday morning.
Yep.
But I would then be going to work Monday night.
I call bullshit
to
on
do
that.
Jury duty on Tuesday.
I call bullshit on that. I say you should get that night off too. The night
then
after.
That means that I should be off those 2 weeks, which is what would be amazing.
Well, that would be, yeah. But I'm just saying, as far as safety goes.
Yes, I agree, because I also drive.
Well, exactly. But
I have a driving position.
Yeah, in the sense that like you don't know how long you're being forced to stay awake. I mean, it could be until like 4 o'clock.
Because it could be until 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But did work say that was the rule? That you had to come that night?
I didn't get specific clarification on that, but that was what I was to understand. Yes,
that's weird.
The sheet, even like the jury summons sheet, even said like if there is no thing, you're free to go to work that day. But I don't know what they mean. Like, what about if I work at night?
Well, yeah, I mean, if there's no thing, sure, but that's not the question. The question is if there is a thing.
Yeah.
During the day.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still say that's.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. Yeah.
If anything, you shouldn't get the night off before. You should be forced to go to jury duty sleepy.
Without sleep.
Yes. And then go home, take the night off, and then But either way, as a night shifter, and I understand this too. Anything that's scheduled during the day, you're still screwed as far as sleep schedule goes. It doesn't matter if how I guess much energy it requires of you. Just the fact that you simply have to be awake whenever the sun's up, and you're not used to that. Like it's so hard to get back into a normal schedule. At least it was for me. If I ever fucked that up, it was like 2 days worth of me trying to get back into a normal schedule.
I went to an orientation.
Yeah, that's right.
After working here for over a year,
they finally orientated you.
And it started at about the same time that this jury duty was scheduled to start,
right.
And I stayed up after work and just went there without sleep because I didn't want to sleep for like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's the worst.
And then wake up even more tired. Mm-hmm. And so I just stayed up and I went in, and by the time it was over, I was really struggling to stay awake. I was like dozing off in my seat and like, yeah.
But then the worst part is that you don't want to sleep at night, because then you're wide awake at like 8 a.m. the next day, and it's like, here we go, I'm ready to go. It's like a normal. That was my struggle at nights, and that was why to be any type of productive on the weekend, at like any type of like normal everyone else schedule to get shit done or to hang out or family stuff or whatever, I would wake up Friday night, go to work, work all night Friday night, get home early Saturday morning, like usually between the hours of like 5 and 8, depending on overtime. So the sun was sometimes up Saturday morning. I would then stay up all Saturday, go to bed Saturday night at a normal schedule time as everyone else. Sometimes even late, like midnight or whatever. So now I've been up for over 24 hours. And then I would go to bed and then wake up Sunday morning with a normal schedule or whatever. So I get like 8 hours of sleep, 10 if I slept in. And then I would stay up all day Sunday and all day Sunday night and then go to bed Monday morning like I normally would during the week, during the weekday. So I would literally only get like 8 hours of sleep on a weekend and then start my schedule. But that was the only way I could ever get anything done with other humans,
Yeah.
And then also
I have a lot
reset
of weekends
that
where I just do naps. I'll sleep for like 3 hours and then I'll wake up. I don't try to. I just wake up and then I'm awake.
No. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I wake up. It's just I just feel so groggy. I can't. I'm the type of person that I can keep going and just not stop. But as soon as I stop, I'm out for the count. I'm worthless unless I get like 7 hours of sleep. Yeah.
To be clear, I always try to sleep like a full amount. And so on the weekends, I usually will try to go to sleep at not as like usually sooner than what I normally would during the work week. And I will wake up after 3 or 4 hours and I'll just be wide awake. And then I'll try to go back to sleep, but I can't. And I'll just lay in bed. And so I'm like, well, I guess I'm up. And then I'll get up. And then maybe later on that day, I'll sleep for like 2 more hours. But that I usually will just get through my weekends on like a couple of hours of sleep at a time.
Yeah.
Is what ends up happening. Yeah. It's really weird. And then watching Premier League footy.
Oh, yeah.
These games are also often in the mornings. And so it's the worst whenever they're on Sundays. And so it'll be like a 10 a.m. match on Sunday morning I'll have to get up for. And so I'll set an alarm and I'll get up and I'll watch that. And then I'll try to take a nap before work after that.
Yeah.
That usually sucks. Saturday games are fine, but whenever it's on a Sunday, it sucks because I have to work that night.
See, I had the benefit, too, of my work week didn't start on Sunday night. Mine started on Monday night. So that was how I could do a whole weekend, the way that I did it. But yeah, it sucks. So anytime you have anything like a doctor's appointment or like, just like a normal daytime thing, it just freaking sucks that you have to either be going to that appointment exhausted or you have to completely ruin your schedule and get up early, and then you're up all day and go to work exhausted the next night or that night or whatever. Yeah. So I hope you don't have to do it, but I also kind of hope you do, that we have something to talk about. That's, an inside scoop on how the justice system works in Ohio.
Well, I definitely hope not, because I don't.
Yeah.
I was really, really dreading having to like figure out how I'm going to fucking flip flop if they don't need me like one day, but then they need me again the next day. And I was not.
I just say, like I said, I just say that you don't tell them that you weren't needed the second day, and you just use that to.
That was what I was kind of leaning toward until they text me and said they didn't need me at all.
No.
So yeah.
I mean, if you get called in, yeah. I'm just saying, don't tell your boss that you're not needed the.
No, that's what I just said. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was contemplating doing that, and then they texted me and said they didn't need me at all, and I was like, oh, I guess I don't have to worry about that.
Okay,
now.
I see. Yeah, I get you now. But yeah, that's what I would do if you get called in. Like, I think it's better to get rest before you're having to drive all night than not, and just be like, hey, I thought I wasn't needed. Sorry.
Ideally.
Yeah. Well, ideally is you don't get called at all. That'd be ideally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Well, the trucking industry doesn't care how much sleep you get either,
Nope.
So that's good.
Nope, not at all.
I mean, the rules say you do, but then
Well, yeah.
I would always hate they would schedule me for shit where I'm like, I just woke up like 3 hours ago, and now what you scheduled me for, you're expecting me to go back to sleep right now. It's not
right.
possible.
Yeah.
Where I would drive to drop, I would be like a couple of hours away from a location. I would go deliver it, and then they're like, well, we're scheduling you for another pickup at 1 a.m.
Go to bed
tonight.
Go.
And I'm like, so that means that I have to like stop and go to sleep right now. I just woke up like 2 hours ago. What the fuck? Yeah, I hated it. I'm probably never doing that job again.
I don't blame you. I also think they were doing some bad stuff there, but that's beside the point. But yeah, well, cool. So you had a fun one day this week. I had a fun one day this week. That's all we can ask for sometimes, is just a fun one day.
Yeah, I wanted to also on the mention, not to get into this too much because we're gonna start our actual show here in a second, and I also was planning actually on going to the No Kings because they had one here in town.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And my partner had to work. She actually had to go in stupidly from like 4 to 6 that afternoon, and where she worked, it's just like a few blocks from where the protest was being held. And so I was wanting to like just get dropped off and then she could just like pick me up after, because it was like at the same time that she had to work. That's when it was. And I was kind of hoping that, but she was already asleep by the time I was hoping that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna hopefully that'll work out. And I woke up and it was like 3:00 and she was gone already.
Oh, damn.
And I have a text message from her that says, yeah, that's on my way. I could have just dropped you off. And I was like, that's what I fucking wanted. And I wish, I was like, I actually told her when she got home, I was like, yeah, I wanted to go. And that's what I was hoping would happen. And then I woke up and I had text messages from you saying that you would do that. So
yeah. That worked out great. Perfect idea. Yeah. Except you're asleep.
So, yeah. So I also sadly did not attend. But if the next one...
Slept through democracy.
If the next one's on a... Yeah, that's right. If it's on a Saturday again next time, I'll hopefully
they usually are.
Make it.
I mean, all the ones I've been to, 2 of them so far.
Well, they had for the first like couple of months. You remember that they kept scheduling protests for like Tuesday afternoon.
Yes. Yeah.
And because we were like, who the fuck is going to this? Like, people can't just go.
The protest time slots were all taken, Tuesday. And that was the only days open, I guess.
Yeah. But I think these No King specific ones have been on Saturday.
I've seen a couple on Sunday, but usually like it's like some like weird reason why. But the ones I've been to 2, and both of them were on Saturday. So
yeah, and then I went back to work, and one coworker was like, somebody had assumed that I was off because of a jury duty situation.
Ooh.
And I was like, nah, I took this day off like several months ago, and they were like, oh, what was going on? And I was like, yeah, I just went to Kent for a show. And this coworker was like, oh yeah, was it at the university or whatever? And I was like, no, it was at some theater. And they just like were telling me about the university, and they were like, yeah, I back in the day I dated someone who went there and whatever, so I'm really familiar with the place and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, the only thing I know about Kent was the shooting. And which led him to like defend murdering students via military force at Kent State, I guess. Not really advocating, because he was like, also because he did state like, yeah, they probably shouldn't be fucking shooting people, but he was like, but also if you're going to be throwing rocks at people with guns, you got to expect that you're going to get shot.
You're going to get shot.
And I was like, yeah, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. A rock and a bullet. Same thing.
Yeah, that warrants death.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that came up, and I was just kind of like, well, this isn't really how I want this conversation to go. But actually, I was really surprised that nobody else asked. I'm glad they didn't, but I kind of thought that somebody else would have been like, yeah, so like, well, just general talking, just like, well, yeah, what do you have planned or whatever. But yeah, nobody did.
Good.
I didn't really want to talk about it either.
There you go.
But yeah, I had one guy the day after ask me like, yeah, what was going on? Everybody else, I think, did really assume that it was a jury duty situation, because even this other coworker was like, yeah, this other guy was saying that you were off because of jury duty, because somebody was like, how did that bullshit go? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
How did that bullshit go?
Yes, that's an exact quote one person said, and I was like, what are you talking about?
It would have been so hilarious. Not great. I almost said great. It would have been hilarious if like you took off because like like a family emergency or like a funeral or something, and then he goes,
Yeah.
"How'd that bullshit go?" And you're like, "My fucking grandma died."
How was that waste of your goddamn time go yesterday?
It was a pointless fucking thing you went to. It was a funeral. It was kind of horrible, actually. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have actually said that, but
I mean, again, if it
actually-
was legit, it would have been horrible, but it would have been a funny
Yeah.
thing for you to come back with. Yeah.
I should have said that. Yeah, but I actually genuinely was confused because they just like came up to me and said that, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. You should just like really like solemnly and like like quiet, been like, "Yeah, it's a bad funeral. It was
Yeah, my mom died.
pretty emotional," and just like see what his reaction would have been. Yeah. No, I'm fucking with you. Yeah.
But yeah, this fucking other guy, I guess, was telling people that I had like jury duty, and I was like, because yeah, this other guy, a separate person from how'd that bullshit go, another person asked me about like how the jury thing went, and I was like, that doesn't start until next week, and I don't even know if I have to go to that. I don't know anything about that, and they were like, oh, well, this other guy said that was what you were doing yesterday, and I was like, well, he was incorrect.
He was incorrect.
That's what I said, and they
you
just
believe
kind of
someone
chuckled
without facts. Congratulations.
This is another person, the same person that incorrectly was telling people that I had jury duty that day, also was telling people that I was afraid to drive. There was like, whenever I was new, I was telling that dude about like, at that time I was on a different schedule, and it was like if a person on this other schedule took off, then I would have to fill in for their position, which would have meant me going to work an hour earlier than normal.
Yeah.
And so I was just telling this person, like, yeah, it sucks having to come in an hour earlier because, like, traffic around where I live is actually, like, quite a bit worse at that time of day. And so I was like, yeah, so I always have to make sure I leave earlier if I have to get in here.
Makes sense.
That hour early,
Yeah.
because, like, the traffic is really bad, and I hate the traffic. And apparently, like, a few days later, this other guy brought up something about me being too scared to drive, and I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, he said that whenever you have to come in early, you're afraid to drive. And I was like, that's not even close to what I said. All I said was that the traffic sucks. and I don't like driving in the traffic, because why would you?
So now you know. So now you know that you really should like have fun with this, and you should like tell that same guy something just ridiculous about yourself. Like make it up, some kind of like superstition or some fear or
This would be really easy, because I think this was off mic last time, but this is actually the same guy that was like talking about Antifa.
Okay.
That's the same guy.
So
Yeah.
so you should definitely like just plant something, between he and you only, so that way
Yeah.
where it comes from.
And see how plant the seed
Yes.
with one man.
And see where it goes or whatever, and then whoever gets back to you, like whoever, it might just be everybody, but I guess the first person, just confirm it. Just be like, yeah, that's true. Whatever ridiculous seed you plant, and then whatever that sprouts into via him telling them, that's probably going to be even more crazy. Just whatever it is, just be like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm terrified
Yeah.
to drive into work.
You should tell them that like you've been abducted once or something like that.
Yeah. Be like, you see this in my arm? That was implanted 14 years ago.
Just start some kind of rumor about yourself with just that guy.
So this is a guy that also, I was actually really surprised, but this is another guy that I asked about Coast to Coast, and he said he had never heard of it. And I was like, what the fuck did you listen to whenever you were truck driving? So yeah, I could absolutely just steal Coast to Coast stories.
Just steal a story.
Pass them off as my own.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah.
I think you should. Fuck it.
I actually might.
Do it.
Well, the only thing is, it's very rare that I see this guy because of his schedule. He for some reason nowadays we send like 2 different deliveries to this one place, and so basically he goes there, he comes back, and then he takes a second truck to this place, and by the time he gets back, like, I'm already
You're
gone. So
yeah.
I don't really see him.
What?
Other than if he asks if like the second truck is loaded.
That's even better, because then you could plant that thing. Just however quickly you have to plant it, and hopefully it doesn't like draw you into like a ridiculously long conversation or whatever, right?
Probably would.
Well, sure, yeah.
Kind of how he
That's
is.
the one downside to this, right? But but you plant that, and then whatever that interim time is between the first time and you see him and the next time, and then the next time you like fertilize that plant a little bit, just be like a little bit more information, or exaggerate something a little bit more, or even like maybe even like contradict what you said before without pointing out that you're contradicting it. Just say the complete opposite or whatever, and just see which one of those two things gets back to you first.
Yeah. Yeah, they all those people fucking run their mouths. I try not to say say anything to anyone, basically, because there's been other times that I've like talked shit, and then really quickly I found out like, oh, you guys like tell everybody everything all the time. So I guess I'm not going to say anything to you anymore.
Well, and for a fact that's the only reason why they were talking about the jury duty thing. It's not only did that spread, the fact of like, what is Thomas doing, that information spread, but also they were just nosy about what you knew about the jury duty thing. Mm-hmm. They just wanted the gossip on that to then talk about that. Yeah. So if you get asked about jury duty ever again, regardless of actually going or not, your immediate response to just be, we convicted him to like life.
You like raped and murdered 4 people.
Yeah. It actually be Ohio's first firing squad.
Yeah.
Unanimous. It was just just say something crazy.
It was like 12 Angry Men, except there wasn't the one guy who differed in opinion.
And in fact, we were all pretty happy to just convict the guy.
We couldn't wait. Like, we all asked if it was possible to be there in person when they fire him
down. And then
down.
If you even mention 12 Angry Men, they're not going to know the movie. They're just going to be like, there were like 12 guys who were angry at each other.
Like, yeah, they were pissed.
Thomas said that they all fought. They were all angry men. I don't know.
Yeah, the room erupted into violence within minutes.
That's what
of
actually, that's what you
deliberation.
You should do that. If they ask about jury duty again, you should just give them the plot of 12 Angry Men.
Yeah. So like 11. So right, we go in there to deliberate on this crime.
Yeah. The blocking is great, by the way.
It's me, 11 other dudes. Everyone else in there, they all think he's fucking guilty.
Yeah.
Dead to rights, guilty, no question about it. I'm the only person.
Yes! Oh my god!
And I have to convince every single one of them.
They would eat this up!
Piece by piece, I broke them down.
Yeah.
I showed them the evidence and how it didn't hold up to scrutiny. And by the end of it, we all agreed, not guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a crazy afternoon.
Even though he clearly murdered his kids, not guilty.
Yeah. I mean, like, so what? So what if he was holding the knife when the police arrived?
Yeah. So what if he was covered in blood?
Him being covered in their blood, holding the knife, doesn't mean he stabbed the children.
Him laughing and saying, I am so glad I did this, finally. Those assholes. Over his children's dead body whenever the police arrived and had cameras on him. So what?
So what? I turned every single one of these jurors.
They say without a reasonable doubt, and I had reasonable doubt.
I planted reasonable doubt into everyone's minds.
I would love if you did that and just like convince them that you were like, the system allows 12 people to decide the fate of one individual, and I thought it would be fun to just get everyone to make the wrong decision.
And it worked.
And it worked. I let a guilty man run free.
Anyway, have a good one.
It felt so powerful. See you Monday.
Yeah, that would be great.
I've never had so much power. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
You guys should do it.
I should.
Yeah. All right. Let's record the show.
I guess.